Okay, Dr. Espinoza asked me to talk about functioning of a facial plastic surgery clinic. My interpretation of that is that would take me forever to talk about. But there is one thing that is indispensable. There's one thing that you must have, and that is inspirational leadership from above. That's you, everyone sitting in this room. So I'm going to try to focus on one topic and explore it in depth in the next 20 minutes or so. I was at a business meeting about a month ago in Austin, Texas, and the question was asked by the speaker, what is the single most important factor that leads one to success? Now, obviously, as surgeons, I would obviously say great results. And unequivocally, that's important. No doubt. That's what's going to make your reputation. But in life and in business, the single most important factor that leads to success is not ambition. It's not yourself. It's the ability to build and leverage networks. In order to have success, you have to have other people working with you to get to that success. Your staff is everything. And what this core of this lecture is about is getting great staff. In short, great leadership. If you don't have leadership, you're not going to have great staff. That's the bottom line. So what is leadership all about? Let's start with a very fundamental basic idea, which is the leader buy-in, which is the idea that if you are going to be a great leader, you have to have great character, period. Before you start espousing a vision, before you start coming up with a game plan of how you're going to lead the troops, you yourself have to be a winner. You yourself have to be a leader. You yourself has to be the source of inspiration for your staff. If you are not, it doesn't matter what vision you have. Your staff won't believe it and they won't follow. So the thing that I learned from Ed Williams, who was my mentor, is absolutely control at all times, which is you never lose your anger. You know, that's easy. I trained with a lot of surgeons that threw instruments across the room. But Ed, when he had a problem in the operating room or whatever it was, he blamed himself. That takes character. And when the staff sees that, they see that they're working with someone who is so much higher than they could even imagine. So remember one thing, if you cannot control your temper, if you cannot control yourself, you cannot control anyone else or anything else. That's critical. Don't think you're a king. Don't think you're a queen. Don't stand apart from your staff. Be part of them. Your staff is your family. It's your lifeblood to success. It's your lifeblood, period. And if you are separate, that's a problem. Take out the trash. Let them see you do it. That may sound ridiculous. Maybe to people more senior that may be ridiculous. But for me, I believe that that's important to show that I'm one of the people. There's a great book by John Maxwell called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. In that book, the chapter that had the most meaning to me was, where do leaders come from? I was raised in Texas as an Asian guy, and I was, it was a time of more racism in the 1980s. And during that time, I was not a leader by any stretch of the imagination. But I had a great mentor. And that was, again, I said Ed Williams, who was my fellowship director. And here's the thing. What they found in a study was that leaders are not born. They don't even come about through crisis situations. That may account for 10% of leaders out there. Leaders are inspired by other great men and women. And if you have not been inspired by a mentor, find one. And if you can be one, be one. That's what's so powerful. There's another thing that's so important. You're not going to be able to motivate your staff. You can only inspire them. If you hire the wrong people, they're not going to go anywhere with you. You need to get the right people on the bus, and you need to make sure that you can inspire them. I hire on personality. I don't hire on experience. In fact, I don't even want them to be part of a plastic surgical practice and develop skills and habits that are probably not in alignment with my own. A great book I read recently is Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. The way that I've designed my website, the way that I communicate with my staff is through stories, by talking about real-life human stories and making it simple. They can connect and remember stories. I'm not doing a lot of stories right now. It's probably the opposite of what I should be doing. But what they found was it doesn't matter how great the speaker is. Doesn't matter how bad the speaker is. The only thing people remember 10 minutes after the speech was a story about something. And I'm going to try to get some stories in here, hopefully here. There's a great book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the subsequent book, Cash Flow Quadrant, broke down the ways that we see the world. We see the world, and that's emphasized through the way that we speak. You can tell what the person is like based on the way they talk. B is a business person. They hire smarter people around them to do the job. S is basically a self-employed person, usually a professional like a physician or an attorney that says, you know what, I can do a better job than anyone else around me. And E is an employee. They focus on job security, they focus on benefits, they don't focus on risk, they're risk adverse. And then eventually when you have enough affluence or money, then you start looking at investments. I always say that I'm a little B and little S. That's an English joke, American, a little BS. But I really believe that I can hire smarter people around me, which is critical. And I do believe from a surgical standpoint I can do a better job, but I hire people that can do the things that I need them to do, so I don't have to do them. Get the right people on the bus. This is from Built to Last and Good to Great. Wonderful books if you haven't read them. But get the right people on the bus. You can't train people that are not the right people. And the only way that you can have them see your vision is for you to be humble for a moment and become a servant leader. That means transparency. That means that they can see in you that you actually do care about them first, and there is that in them. I don't lead followers. I lead leaders. Because a great leader knows how to delegate and not micromanage. I remember when I first started my fellowship, Ed told me, he said, Sam, I told Ed, I said, Ed, I'm a control freak. And he said, Sam, you're not going to get anywhere with that. If you continue to micromanage your life, you'll destroy your staff, you'll destroy your business. Of course, the first thing you hear with an insult like that is like, hey, come on, there's no way, he's wrong. But you know what, he's right. You can't do that. We talked earlier this morning about consultations, and we don't get any training about how to do a good consultation. We don't get any training on how to behave. We're so focused in books the whole life that we don't even know how to do this. That's why I think all the lectures I've given you this weekend, this is the only one that matters. I'll be honest with you. And leaders create other leaders. That's so important, so that my staff has a cascade chain of leadership. I hire smarter people than I am. Diana is smarter than I am. She's incredibly, her IQ is probably off the charts compared to mine. She does a great job in organizing and doing the whole backside of my office, which is wonderful. And, as a point of perspective, when Diane started with me, she said, Dr. Lamb, I don't know if I want to be doing this. She was a manager for an OB/GYN hospital. She saw lives being changed. And I said to Diane, you know what, we're in the business of taking care of people and transforming lives. And she saw it. When we did a little segment on a Yahoo segment back in December, my patients were in tears, Diana was in tears, my mom, as my office manager, was in tears. And I said, now you see what I mean by transforming lives. We're in the business of taking care of people. We're not just plastic surgery. In fact, we're not plastic surgery. We're in the business of taking care of people. Your staff has got to believe in your vision, and they have to share that vision with you. So what is that vision? What is it? You have to, first of all, expect them to succeed. If you expect your staff to fail, guess what's going to happen? They're going to fail. That's a law of expectations. You must expect them to succeed. And how do you get them there? Every day you build a cathedral. FedEx, the reason FedEx succeeds is because the CEO told the staff, hey guys, you know what you're carrying in your package? You may be carrying primary critical papers that could make a big deal, make a difference in other people's lives. So those guys are on time. They're on time because they care. And if you make your staff walk to work every day and they're cutting stones and not building a cathedral, then you got nothing. I love Craig Reed. I'm part of an organization called Entrepreneur Organization, or EO. Craig Reed is the general manager for Four Seasons in Las Colinas in Dallas. Humble man. I would work for the guy. And you know what? It was so amazing is that the thing that we always forget about is the staff. Customers always right. This customer-centric approach. The staff, what Craig said is that, first of all, he shakes 100 hands before he sits down at his desk. The second thing is he said, if my staff does not have the clothing to have the integrity and the dignity, how can they pass that on to your customers? And remember, you only see a fraction of your customers. You only see a fraction of your patients. Your staff makes or breaks you. They're the ones who are your ambassadors and represent who you are. And that's so important that you treat your staff well and love them. And I think it's better be loved than be feared. So it's important. Now, they know where I stand. I don't take much crap either. But the other thing is, remember, you got to look for ways to help your staff. What Craig Reed said is there's a gentleman who worked at the front door for 20 years, and one day he was freezing outside. And guess what? He said, thank God, I've got an opportunity right now. I'm going to go to the golf store and buy him a down coat out of my own money. And that is what you're looking for, ways to impress your staff, to make them believe in you. Mission statements, just don't post them, but believe in them. So I came up with something a little crazy. So I came up with this thing. My staff knows I torture them probably 2 to 3 times a week and ask them if they remember this. Is my name. SAM, serve always mentality. Remember that we're here for the patient. But you know what? That's not the only thing that they're there for. If that's the only thing they're there for, then that's a problem. They're there for themselves. We're all selfish people. But I want them to have fun every day. I always tell jokes. I'm always having fun, so laugh. Achieve. I want them to have a sense of that top of that Maslow's triangle. I want them to have a sense of self-actualization. And then I want them not to be in isolation. I want them to mentor the whole team. I want them to get the whole team better. So laugh, achieve, and mentor. Obviously, you can come up with your own. Care and connect. You know what? I used to be a big Ayn Rand fan. I love the cerebral element of her. I mean, incredible books. Thinking. I always thought emotions got in the way. You don't want emotions. But you know what? I've completely come full circle. There's something called emotional intelligence. And the way that I say what I'm saying right now is more important than the words I'm delivering. Have an emotional connection. Respect your staff. If you don't, they won't respect you. Respect their personal time. If they got to be out by 5 o'clock to take care of their kids, make sure they're out by 5. Otherwise, you're not going to have staff that's going to stay with you very long. So how do you do all this stuff? Well, this is part of the consultation, too. It's mirroring. Make sure you mirror them. Be like them. Have synchrony to what they're doing and congruity. If you're saying words of apology and you sound like you're not apologetic and it won't be read that way. The words you say and the way you said it. Tony Wrighton, in 30 minutes, he describes how we relate to each other is over 60% nonverbal. It's the way that we say it. It's how we deliver the message that means so much more than our words. And then if you haven't read any neuro-linguistic programming or NLP, it tells you how we filter the world. And a lot of people are visual. A lot of people are auditory. And some people are kinesthetic, how they feel. So make sure you address them in the language that they can understand. Have fun every day. I love my job. I know you guys too. And I make it a fun environment. If my staff's not having fun that day, that's a problem. I'm always joking in the OR. But I'm serious when it comes time to be serious. And, I share profits, incentives. I constantly show them before and afters. Every time I got a great one, I don't care what they're doing. Drop everything. Let's go take a look at this together. Isn't that great? I show them video stories of how we've touched patients' lives. To me, that is everything to me. This is my lifeblood, and my staff is that too. I just recently read The Secret was on Oprah Winfrey by Rhonda Burns. I've been, during the OR, I actually played this audiobook during my surgery. And it's really just a power positive thinking. Norman Vincent Peale, it's ask, believe, and receive. Ask the universe what you want. Don't visualize the negative. Visualize what you can get. Visualize what you already have. And the one thing I would say to you is be grateful for what you have in life. The fact that you're here today and healthy, and you have a good income, and you have people that love you. Have gratitude all the time. If you don't have gratitude, you don't have anything else. Great book, Leading at a Higher Level. Ken Blanchard came and talked to us and went to Austin. I just finished his book. It all starts at the top. The eagle. You're either an eagle or a duck. Which one are you? If you're a duck, everyone below you is going to be quacking. In other words, they will respond and treat customers the same way you do. You set the example all the way down. And you know what? It's hard at the beginning. There's a thing called the curse of knowledge. When you're starting out, when you're at a senior level, you assume that person just starting out knows everything. They don't know anything. And you know what? You got to praise progress. You don't praise the end result, otherwise you'll never get there. You praise them as they go forward. And staff empowerment, I love this. If you plan the battle, you won't battle the plan. You have to have someone out there that's helping to prepare what your future goals are together so you work as a team. We're in a luxury environment, a luxury industry. We better treat it as such. You know, this is elective care. If you're not out there with the what I call the bartender hairdresser mentality, or that what I told you about the book, Hug Your Customers, going out there and really being passionate with your customers about what you do, that's a problem. We're not in the business of surgery, we're in the business of taking care of people. Dress appropriately. And we talked about, Dr. Pedroza gave a good example this morning about facilities that are commensurate to the level of care, and his place is wonderful. Is your staff up to snuff? Do they reflect who you are? I can't remember a compliment that I've received that I haven't had a staff compliment. In fact, most times they only compliment my staff because to me, they're everything. You know what? 2 weeks ago, my patient care coordinator came up to me and said, Dr. Lamb, you didn't stand up for your staff last time when something happened. And I thought about it. Of course, the first reaction, the gut reaction is, my God, this is terrible. I don't want to hear that. I'm not like that. And then you think for a moment, you said, she's right. You know what? I went to go apologize to 3 of my staff members. We're all in the process of growing. If you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotting. You have to be able to be humble to yourself and realize you're not God. How to become a leader. You know what? I love public speaking. I wasn't this way. I remember the first time I had to do public speaking without anything, without any nets. I was on the treadmill, and they said Ed Williams was sick, and I said, what do you mean? Well, you got to give his talk in 2 hours. I said, no, how do I do this? And I did it. And once you've overcome that first thing, that first time you're out in public, you'll be able to have confidence in anything you do. But if you think you are the only one being scared of public speaking, that's a lie. We're all scared. I was scared. And that's the truth. I know there's a lot of stuff on here. You don't have to remember all this, but there are a lot of great books. If you want to come and talk to me afterwards, I'll go over some things. I love the saying. I'll leave with the saying here. Vision without action is only a dream. Action without vision is merely passing time. Vision with action will change the world, and I believe it. Walk the talk. That's why I'm part of this organization called EO, because they walk the talk. Entrepreneurs, they walk the talk. And if you don't love it, don't do what you're doing. And if your staff doesn't love it, they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. And stop thinking, start feeling. Thank you.